Welcome to London's Tate Modern for the must-see show of the summer. It's a blockbuster, bringing together works by one of the world's most loved artists, Henri Matisse. In the 1940s, he invented a completely new art form, the papier découpé, or cutouts.
You see him cutting into the paper with incredible confidence and then putting them onto the paper and making these compositions that are really unlike anything that we've seen in modern art at any point in the 20th century.
The cutouts had the scale of grand paintings, the three-dimensional presence of sculpture, the linear quality of drawing. They were all these art forms rolled into one, but they were also something altogether new. And in case you're not sure where to begin, here are the 5 essential things you need to know about Matisse's colourful creations. Matisse called his technique painting with scissors. It was a sort of artistic back to basics. Cutting up and collaging are things that children do when they play. But his love of cutting also went back to his own roots. Matisse came from a long line of weavers. So when he cut up paper, often using scissors identical to the ones used by tailors, he was reconnecting with his past. When Matisse first started cutting up paper, he used his technique as a simple means to an end to help him map out and plan large-scale projects. At first he was tentative, even secretive, about his new method of working. But before long, he realised the incredible potential of the cutouts. Soon he was using them for more ambitious projects, working in such a creative frenzy that he made more than 200 cutouts in less than a decade. These are great artworks, magnificent, confident, perfectly resolved. But when you get up close, you suddenly see that they're riddled with tiny pinholes. These holes provide a vital clue to their making, because while we now see these pieces of coloured paper glued down and placed under glass, they weren't originally conceived like this at all. Once Matisse had cut his paper into various shapes and sizes, he got his studio assistants to arrange them in different compositions and tack them to the wall using small pins. Then he'd recut and recombine them until he felt he'd got just the right balance. It was a bit like working out the pieces of a giant jigsaw puzzle. By the early 1950s, Matisse was working on an ever larger scale, with cutouts that took over whole walls, even whole rooms. His greatest project by far was the work he made for the Dominican Chapel of the Rosary in Vence, near his home. Here was a complete architectural environment: stained glass windows, ceramic tiles, even robes for the priest. It's amazing to think that Matisse's career had started in the 1890s under the influence of the Impressionists. Yet here he is at the very end of his life, pointing defiantly towards the immersive installation art of the future. You'd never know it given their vitality, but Matisse's cutouts were made in old age, from his late 60s until his death at the age of 84. And they were made under the shadow of illness and exhaustion. After a botched operation following a diagnosis of cancer, and with failing eyesight, Matisse made much of the work we see here from his wheelchair or from his bed. But the cutouts inspired him so much that he told friends this period was his second life. If he couldn't get out into the world anymore, he'd recreate that world in art, in all its colour and beauty. And now all that colour, beauty and vitality is here at the Tate. Do come and see it if you can.